Welcome to the Albuquerque Journal's premier high school sports show, Prep Central, with your host, James Yodice. This show is presented by Western New Mexico University.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Preps Central, the Albuquerque Journal's high school sports podcast. I'm James Yodice. I am the prep editor at the Albuquerque Journal. Welcome. It is Wednesday before the last weekend of the high school sports calendar year. Everything coming to a head this weekend with baseball, with softball, with big school track and field. So we'll talk a little bit about those things, and we'll recap a little bit of state golf and state tennis as well. A lot to talk about today. I'm going to start actually with something that happened on Monday, and as I sit here and record this podcast today on Wednesday, the 15th, I've received word that following what happened at Volcano Vista on Monday of this week, where there were some player ejections for Volcano Vista. They played a game 3 of their baseball series against Los Lunas. It got pretty ugly. Volcano had 3 players ejected in this game. There was another player that kind of went after an umpire after the game. There was an assistant coach who literally put his hands on the home plate umpire after the game. So this blew up pretty quick, and I got the word today. Nothing surprising. Volcano Vista's baseball program has been issued a first strike by the New Mexico Activities Association. Volcano Vista's baseball fan base has been issued a first strike by the NMAA. So because it happened in their last game of the year, this is going to carry over now to the 2025 season. So when next year begins, both the Volcano baseball fans and the program itself are starting the year with 1 strike already. So if there is another incident next year, either by the team or by the fans, that leads to a second strike, if it happens to the fans, they're going to be banned from games for the rest of the year. If it happens to the team, they're going to lose their season, whatever is left of it, if and when it happens. I don't think we've had any second strikes during this whole school year in which we began the 2 strikes initiative. But this was an ugly game on Monday. Los Lunas ended up winning the game 15-8 and eliminated Volcano Vista. So that was the last of the first round games that needed to be played. But as I said, I was at this game. It was not very pleasant. It was really ugly. And so not expected that they got a strike. So they'll start next season fresh, but they'll have to keep things clean. They're also going to start with a new head coach, Todd Flores, on yesterday. Determined that he will not be the coach going forward. I do not know whether he was fired. I do not know whether he voluntarily resigned. He expressed it that in a letter to Volcano Vista's parents, basically, that the 2 sides were going different ways, his words. So I'll leave it at that. But Volcano Vista will start fresh. And it was a tough way, an ugly thing to have to deal with, especially in a state tournament environment. And before I talk real quick about what's going on this week, there was some pushback from people on my social media account who felt I should have taken more of an active approach in criticizing or talking about the umpiring in this game on Monday, which is absolutely the source of contention for Volcano Vista, the players and the coaches. I'm not going to do that. It's a dangerous precedent to be setting. It's not my place to do it. If anybody has a complaint, generally what I tell them is go complain to whatever entity assigned those officials to the game, whether it's the NMAA in this case, or maybe APS or whoever. And I found it interesting that so many people wanted a pound of flesh about this, and it upset me, and I didn't like it at all. And there were several people that came at me pretty hard and felt like I was covering for the umpiring in this game, which had nothing to do with the outcome of this game. And I just find it interesting how savage some people can be on social media, and how some people really just want that proverbial pound of flesh. And there are too many people, I'll say this flat out, as popular or unpopular as it may be, there are too many people involved with Volcano Vista baseball that think the umpiring determined this game. They got to put that away. It did not. And they may have not liked it. Whatever you think about any official in any sport, it doesn't matter whether it's football or basketball or baseball. Whatever you think about an official, whether you think it's a good official a mediocre official, a bad official. It doesn't really matter. You cannot go after them the way Volcano Vista did the other day. The parents were all over him, which is why they got a strike. Like I said, one of the Volcano Vista players who I've written about, I won't go into that too much, but one of the players had to be restrained from physically going after the home plate umpire after this game. Whatever you think of an umpire or a basketball official or a referee at a football game, whatever, you can't be going after them like this. And I felt like there were not a large number, a small number of people out there who felt like it was okay to go after the umpires, but not to put any responsibility on the program, which is where it should be. So that's my getting up on my pedestal here for just a minute. I wanted to mention that because I'm disappointed that some people out there are so angry that feel like the umpiring was the single reason why their team is not playing anymore. This is not the case. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. They may have a legitimate gripe against an individual umpire, but what happened on Monday was inexcusable, and they got hit with a strike, and it was on video. You can see it on the Game Changer app. If you want to sign up for that, you can scroll through to the end of this game, and you can see the video for yourself. Don't take my word for it. You watch it and decide and tell me or decide for yourself whether you think what happened was over the line. And it was. It was way over the line. In my 39 years since I've been covering baseball for the Journal, I have never seen a player have to be physically restrained from going after an umpire like I did on Monday. It was just really ugly. So let's hope when the next season begins, everything will be calm. They'll start fresh, and we can just write a new chapter on this. Anyway, so having said that, we are into the last weekend of state baseball tournament action. It starts on Thursday. Tomorrow, as I sit here and record this, tomorrow morning, actually, we'll have games. I think there are 18 games out at the Jennifer Reardon Spark Kindness Complex, which is out behind Community Stadium. So we'll have 5A, 4A, 3A, 2A quarterfinals and the semifinals in Class 1A. I'm not going to talk about every single class here. I want to focus on 5A and 4A a little bit. So 5A tomorrow, the schedule will be Rio Rancho and Carlsbad will start the day at 10 o'clock. Sandia and Oregon Mountain will play at 1 o'clock. La Cueva and El Dorado, a really anticipated game at 4. And then Los Lunas and Cleveland at 7. So Los Lunas is an 11 seed. They're the highest seed left, or lowest seed left as you think about it in terms of numbers. El Dorado has a lot of momentum. They beat La Cueva once in the last Saturday of the regular season, split a doubleheader with them. Then El Dorado went on the road, beat number 8 seed Rio Grande in 2 games. So El Dorado's here. Anytime you get El Dorado and La Cueva in a state tournament environment in any sport is always a great thing. It should be a lot of fun, pretty electric. I've seen all the teams in the 5A tournament except for Oregon Mountain, but they come in with a very strong resume as well, and Sandia is going to have its hands full playing the Knights. So we'll see how that shakes out. So semifinals will be Friday at Santa Ana Starfield, 3:30 and 6:30 in 5A. And then the championship game, 7 o'clock Saturday night at Santa Ana Starfield. The 4A state baseball tournament is pretty wide open, whereas in 5A, La Cueva is a very strong favorite, even though they've got maybe have to go through El Dorado and possibly even Sandia, 2 teams that beat them this week. We'll see how the bracket shakes out. The 4A bracket, as I've said last week, is more wide open. Goddard's at number 1. They play Bloomfield tomorrow. Grant's the number 2 seed, plays Bernalillo, the number 10. Bernalillo won 2 games on Saturday last week to eliminate Hope Christian. You've got St. Pius, the 2-time defending state champion, as the 4 seed. They're playing Artesia. And then you've got Albuquerque Academy, a 6 seed, which is playing Belen, the number 3. So some really good matchups. As I noted already, there are quite a few teams that have a potential of winning a state tournament before the end of the week. And we'll see with Goddard. I mean, I saw Goddard once at the Rio Rancho tournament back in late March, which had a fantastic field when you think about it. Academy, Goddard, and Artesia were all there. They're all in the quarterfinals of the 4A tournament. That tournament also had Rio Rancho, Cleveland, Carlsbad, La Cueva, Sandia. So all 8 teams that were at that Rio Rancho tournament in late March are still playing. That's pretty unusual, and that's how high quality an event it was. So we'll see how that shakes out in 4A. Pius, I don't like Pius's chances to three-peat this week, I'll be honest. I'm not saying they can't by any means. I just don't like their chances as much as I like other teams. Bernalillo is a fun team to watch. I'd be curious to see how they're going to perform. Grants was a number 1 seed last year and lost, I think, in the quarterfinals. Grants has something they feel like they have to prove, and of course on Thursday of the state tournament, of week 2 of the state tournament, you're going to get an overwhelming majority of ace pitchers going on Thursday because you can't afford to save an ace for a game that you're not in yet. That's the philosophy. That's always been the philosophy. And if you do that, you're rolling the dice. So we will see. Cleveland's one team that might do that and might hold back its number 1 just in case. But, in 4A and in 5A and in all the classes, really, you're going to see ace pitchers going across the board pretty much. You got to advance first and then figure out your pitching from there. The teams, of course, anybody that follows prep baseball knows this. I know this certainly as well as anyone. You got to have pitching. You need about 5 or 6 legit arms if you want to win 3 games in 3 days and win state. You're going to have close to a half a dozen arms. You might get lucky and get 3 great starting pitching performances. That kind of thing is rare. So you need to have 5 or 6 legit arms ready to go out there and pitch innings at state. So I'll be over at baseball tomorrow at the Reardon Complex and Friday and Saturday as well. Softball begins this week as well. The second week for Class 5A and 4A and Class 1A, 2A, plus Class 3A are jumping into the postseason this week as well. Class 5A, and it's been a few years since we've had a Metro team even get to a state championship game in softball, and I've talked about this before as well. La Cueva certainly has the best chance to do that. La Cueva seated number 2 in 5A behind Alamogordo, a team they've beaten and maybe even should have beaten twice. We'll see. La Cueva's got the pitching, certainly. Cibola is a number 5 seed. Cibola got a bit of a break. The number 4 seed in the 5A bracket was Hobbs. I'm sorry, the number 4 seed in the 5A bracket was Hobbs. And Hobbs got upset in the first round by Oregon Mountain, who was a 13. So that's who Siebel is going to play in the first day of week 2. Softball does it differently than baseball. It'll be double elimination in softball this week, so it's not 1 loss and out. So Siebel is going to get Oregon Mountain first this week. I think that's a break for the Cougars for sure. We'll see what they're able to do with it. They would be on the top half of the bracket with Alamogordo, and of course La Cueva would be anchoring the bottom half of the bracket with number 3 Centennial. So we're going to be watching that. The 4A bracket, you've got St. Pius at number 4. You got Bernalillo at number 6, I believe. Two really good teams that hope to make some noise in the 4A bracket. Gallup number 1, Lovington number 2, Silver number 3. We'll have to see if any of the metro area teams can make any inroads.
Education and training at Western New Mexico University is accessible from every corner of the land of enchantment, providing limitless opportunities toward success for more than a century. And now, through the New Mexico Opportunity Scholarship, tuition and fees are covered for anyone looking to start or start over. Along with free tuition, books are always included for every WNMU student, assuring your only worry is how far you can actually go. Lift off toward your future and endless potential at WNMU today.
Okay, let's jump in real quick and talk about the other 3 spring sports. Of course, tennis is already done. We're going to talk about that first. Tennis had its state tournament last week. Individual champions, Connor Dills from Albuquerque Academy, undefeated, just dominated the 1A through 4A singles bracket. Leo Roca, left-hander, big lefty from Albuquerque High, only lost 1 match all season. That was to Connor Dills from Academy. Those 2 are good buddies. Leo Roca won the 5A singles title for boys. Vivica Corley becomes the 4th different sibling in her family to win a state singles title. She's from El Dorado. She had a tremendous 3-set victory over Cameron King of La Cueva, a 2-time state champion herself. That was an unbelievable match. So Vivica now joins her sister Bianca and her older sisters Ivana and Carmen, who were all there at the Jerry Klein courts the other day to watch. That was a really neat thing. So Vivica now becomes a state singles champion for El Dorado. She's just a junior. And you had Avery Williams from Goddard winning the girls 1A through 4A singles. Team stuff. Academies, boys and girls, both won state. Academies, boys have won state 21 consecutive times. Not 21 consecutive years because there was no tournament in 2020 because of the pandemic. They have won state. Every year there's been a state tournament since 2003. Think about that. They have been the state champion. I think they're coming close to a national record, I do believe, there. And the Academy girls continue to be dominant. The boys beat Los Alamos. The girls beat Robertson. La Cueva's boys and girls swept in 5A tennis. The boys sending Coach Dick Johnson out into retirement with another win. They beat Albuquerque High in the finals, and the girls beat Farmington. Dick Johnson from La Cueva earlier this year won his 400th career match. Dick is going to be 80 this year. He's been a tireless proponent of prep tennis. I believe this is his 14th state championship La Cueva and his last one. So congratulations to Dick on a great career, and certainly I wish him well as he heads into retirement. Track and field, the small school state meet was last weekend. The big schools, Class 4A and 5A, are coming up on Friday and Saturday. I hate missing it, but I've got to do mostly baseball this week. I'm going to try and watch a little track when I can. So all day Friday, all day Saturday out at the University of New Mexico Track Complex. Los Alamos' boys and girls are going to be heavily favored to win, no question. No reason they shouldn't dominate both genders. And we'll see. We'll have to see how the 5A shakes out. Cleveland's boys probably are favored pretty well. I'm not so sure about how 5A girls is going to shake out. There are a couple of teams in the mix, so we'll see. I say this every time anybody will listen to me. State track, the big school state track, is the best 2 days on the sports calendar to me because it's the place you see the most great athletes from the state. So many of the state's best athletes do track and field in some form or another. So to have them all together at one meet in one venue, I always find to be really exciting and really interesting. So, state track out at UNM. Like I said, they'll be starting, early to mid-morning Friday and Saturday as well. And then the last thing we're going to talk about real quick is golf. State championships concluded yesterday, Tuesday. I was out at Twin Warriors Golf Club. Volcano Vista's boys won state for the first time in this sport. And, of course, they'd already won state this year in boys wrestling and boys basketball, so they're having a good calendar year, not counting what happened to the baseball team this week. Volcano Vista boys beat La Cueva by 9 shots, and then you had the Piedra Vista girls win state, and they beat La Cueva by 5, I believe. Individual medalists celebrating the letter Y today. Jake Ureni, a senior from La Cueva, wins state by 2 shots for the Bears, his second title in a row. Annie Yost from Piedra Vista, who had a very tough loss at state last year, comes back. She wins by 6 this year. Congratulations to them. The 4A, which was next door at Santa Ana Golf Club, Skylar Woods from Kirtland Central, Riley Salome from Belen, winning her 3rd title in a row, I believe. They were the individual winners. Academy's boys and girls won the 4A team titles. And then down in Socorro, at New Mexico Tech Golf Course, the Mesilla Valley boys and the Texaco girls won state. That's Class 1A through 3A. You had Mason Hicks from New Mexico Military Institute and Liz Elam from Texaco completing the Texaco individual team sweep. So congratulations to all those kids in tennis and golf for winning state titles, and certainly congratulations to all the kids in the small school track meet. Way too many to mention here. And good luck to all the athletes in the 3 sports this weekend. I will be back soon. I'm not sure when the next podcast will be. We are working on that. It could be next week. It might be the week after. I'm not sure. But in the meantime, go out, enjoy the high school athletes this last weekend of the year. I'm certainly excited. Come Saturday night, believe me, I'm going to be about as happy as anybody that I don't have to cover any more games for a while until football season starts in August. In the meantime, thanks for watching. You can find the podcasts, as always, at abqjournal.com, YouTube, other platforms as well, plus our other sports writers who do podcasts, Sean Ryder, with Lobo Football, Jeff Grammer, of course, with Lobo Basketball. So you can consume all of those podcasts at your leisure, and we hope that you will continue to do so. In the meantime, we encourage you to read, hear, listen. The Journal continues to put out great content every day. So thanks for watching. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll talk soon. Bye.